Well, I'm here all by myself, Grimmer.
Well, let's get that fixed.
You went as Gussie and Grim, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great, because before they weren't letting us live stream and...
Oh, that's right. There you are, face.
Come on in. Come on, come on. Hi, Victoria Williams. It's so good to see you. Come on in, have a seat. Get yourself settled in. Jane Husky, good to have you here. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. I'm really enjoying this music today. I don't know if you can hear it because we also have fans going. But it is some fun music. We often play oldies in the background when we do our live streams. It's just kind of our thing, isn't it, honey?
Yeah.
Yesterday we were on a roll though with old 1960s music like Donovan. You know, must be the season of the witch.
God, I love that song.
We were listening to that and a lot of other Donovan songs, which I didn't even realize that he had done something called like I Am Shaman when he was like a white-haired old fellow. So I don't know much about Donovan. It's just yesterday for some reason Grim and I just both were really drawn to his music kind of out of the blue. We listened to it off and on all day. And I want to do a little bit of a deep dive on the fellow and find out a little bit more about him and why, you know, he kind of popped into my influence and Grim's influence so strongly yesterday. We don't, you know, we believe in synchronicity. So for us, everything happens for a reason. If you're willing to take the time to investigate why, you know, if it's intriguing enough to go down the rabbit hole. And really, that is an intriguing topic for us, isn't it, Grimmer?
Yes, it is.
So hello and welcome. My little people counter up in the corner of my phone says there's only one person watching, but I know for a fact that there are a few more than one. So obviously something's not working. That's all right. I want to say hi to everyone that is out there. I know I took Friday off and I was so, like, I really wanted to talk to you on Friday because it was, you know, it was right at the height of a full moon. It was a strawberry full moon on Friday, and we had summer solstice or Litha, and, you know, just like, ooh, it was just wonderful energy. But I know you picked up on that anyways, and I know that you observed it in your own way, and I know that a lot of you were sending me some good juju. I was down flat on my back for a few days. I injured myself and then I re-injured it. You know how that goes when you start getting back to work too soon, you know. So, you know how that is. So, but here I am, up and mobile and doing my thing, and I'm so glad to be back. Today's topic is really, Grim and I, hi Grimmer,
Hi.
You want to say hi to everybody?
Oh, sure. Let's see who's here.
Say.
Jane Husky says hello. Michelle Kleckler-Cap says hello.
Hello Jane and Michelle.
Hello everyone. And who else do we have here? Victoria Williams says,
Victoria.
Hey Gussie and Grim. So far, that is all I see.
Really? Interesting. Well, hey, folks, share if you can I don't
Can't. We're in Purple Door.
to other Purple Door witches.
Oh yeah.
And let them know. But anyways, you know, hey, whoever needs to hear these words, you know, they'll find their way here. We have for a very long time been doing our 420 tarot off of our Gussie and Grimm page, and just recently switched it back into the Purple Door because really because of scammers. I mean, we've had a lot of scammers cloning me in particular and trying to get folks to give them money for readings and spells and all sorts of things. It's just quite sad. So we decided to go back to the basics here, and you know, those who need to find us will find us, right? That's how it goes. That's how it always has been here at the Purple Door. We don't do big, you know, drives to get people to join us. We don't, you know, we just have always been kind of, if you know, you know. That's kind of how it is, isn't it, Grimmer?
Yes, it is.
So,
You've been saying that for years.
Have been saying that for years.
Those that need to find us will.
Those that need to will find us. Like LJ. I see LJ's name just popped up. Hi, LJ. Glad to have you here. We were just talking about those who need to find us will find us wherever we are. You know, that's kind of how it is. We don't do a lot of advertising.
Michelle Clickler-Cap says we need a spell to get rid of the scammers.
Right? Oh. You know what, though? We really do, but oh my goodness.
It goes so much deeper than that.
It goes so, yeah. I know that you've probably heard Grimm and I talk about this in the past, but it bears mentioning again. I didn't realize, you know, when the scammers first started to, you know, enact their specific putrescence upon me and my online persona, I guess, if you will, I was very angry. Grimm even more so. Grimm's my warrior, you know, warrior wolf. He goes right for the throat, and he would just curse those guys and say some horrible things and
trick them into getting their PayPal information so I
yeah,
can report them.
He liked to harass them, yes, and report them whenever possible. But then we started doing deeper research into it, and you know, a lot of those folks are basically, they're like human trafficked into these jobs where they have to perform at a certain level to try to scam United States, Australia, United Kingdom, probably, yeah, I mean, to try to scam them from money. They have a certain quota that they need to reach every day, and you know, it is not like, I don't think many of them would be doing what they're doing out of choice. And so
no, most of them, when they were in it, or found themselves in it, it's because they applied for an overseas job in tech support.
right,
Get hired, they get to the airport in the foreign country, and their passports get seized, and now they're indentured.
and they're like indentured servants. And that's just, you know, so yes, we need to cast a spell, and we did. We brought 420 Tarot back inside the folds of the Purple Door, not outside. You know, anything that is spoken about in here, it's not shareable. There's not a way you can click a link and share it out of the Purple Door. We are our own little space here, our own little liminal cabin in the woods, right? That's where we are with a Purple Door. And so we also control who comes in and out. And
there's been a lot more outs than ins.
There have been a lot more outs than ins, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. But what was I going to say about that?
Mm-hmm.
There was a reason I was talking about that. Poop. I talked myself out of the...
You were talking about scammers.
Oh yeah, so like Michelle says, let's cast a spell. Our spell is cast. We've brought it back into the purple door where things, you know, I'm not saying there are not people that have found their way through the purple door that are ill-intentioned, because we have indeed found folks that have, you know, arrived in here under a different name, under a different pretense than what they portray online. And so I'm not saying it's, you know, 100%, but we do a pretty good job. Our guild leaders and our other folks that are part of our team do a pretty good job keeping an eye on any nefarious activity. And really, it's been pretty quiet overall online anyways. Have y'all noticed that? Well, of course, I've taken a break too, so I'm speaking from break standpoint. But I've noticed, like, a lot of times I'll log in and I won't get things that are happening currently. I'll get things from like 5 days ago. So if you've sent me something and you're wondering why I haven't responded like in, you know, pretty recent time, it's probably because I'm not getting everything. It's like days later when I'm getting information. Oh Lord, oh Lord, I was thinking Discord. Oh my God, Grim. Grim has been going through some of our old pictures. You think I could show them that on the phone? Will they be able to see it? Look at this one, circa God knows when.
5 years ago.
I don't have this shirt anymore. I loved that necklace. Yeah.
That look didn't go over well.
Oh, but we were always so happy together, Grimmy. That's the thing. Well, we are always happy, but I'm looking at that time and, you know, we were happy.
Yeah.
I love that shirt. You loved that shirt. That's all I'm saying. All right, everybody. Every witch out there. Oh, look, there's a card for us. And don't you know? My goodness. I can't believe it's this card again. This card that keeps popping out of nowhere. I wasn't even going to read it right away. I was going to just hold it aside until I just picked it up and absentmindedly looked at it to see what it was, and I'll be damned if it isn't the Ace of Pentacles card again. My goodness, we have had a lot of Ace of Pentacle action over the last couple of weeks. You know, so what is it? I guess we're reminded to keep that eye on the prize. Just like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about, you know, what does your little slice of heaven look like? If you could create it, however you could create it. If you know, forget about, you know, things that are going on a global scale right now. Think about your perfect heaven. What would it look like? We've been working on that question for a couple of weeks, and I hope that you've spent some time thinking about what your perfect heaven would be. I know that we might not be able to acquire, you know, everything on the list, of course, but if you really take a deeper look and look at some of the finer details of your list, you'll see that you're already putting some of those things in motion without even really necessarily realizing that you are. You are making little tiny micro steps forward toward that goal. And this Ace of Pentacles keeps popping up to remind us that, yes, indeed, you know, we don't have, or at least I feel this way. I know that I'm told every vote counts. I'm also not a very political person, but sometimes I feel fairly insignificant when it comes to everything happening around. I feel like I could kind of, you know, fade into the woodwork, and it wouldn't take a lot of effort. And I'm not saying this boo-hoo like sad me. I'm just saying I don't feel like I have, made my biggest impact yet. And why I'm telling you that, I don't know. I don't know. How do you feel about that for yourself? Have you made your biggest impact yet? Like, I want to say, well, it was, bringing my children into this world. And yes, that was a huge impact. But, like, to stick around to help see the rest of their journey and, guide them as much as I'm able, and that they're willing to allow me to guide them. It's all so complex. And yet, really, it's really quite simple. It makes me think about, over the weekend, I took a lot of time off because of my back. So I've spent a lot of time with Mist. We watched The Umbrella Academy, which I love that show. If you haven't watched it yet, I love it. But also, Grim and I have done a lot of discussion, held a lot of discussions between the two of us about some of the energies that we work with that have been present and part of our lives for as long as we've been together, and before that as well. Like the essence of Mary Magdalene, and also Mary, the mother of Jesus. Those two goddess figures have played a big role in my life, throughout my life, for various reasons. And we were discussing that. We were discussing the Gospel of Mary, which is a gospel purportedly written by Mary Magdalene herself after Jesus was, put to death on the cross. And really, it all comes down to what Jesus was teaching was love. He wasn't teaching, all of this warfare and bloodshed, and he wasn't teaching that. And it just confounds me. Neither was Muhammad, right? Buddha? I don't think that. I just don't understand. There was a little bit of a rigmarole, hullabaloo, if you will, on the Purple Door over the last couple days about our Pause for Peace efforts. And I just wanted to make mention that, we have a group of people that work behind the scenes for us as part of a team. And it is all volunteer. Mostly what Grim and I do is for the most part volunteer as well. One of those things that we've been doing every night for years now is Pause for Peace. And that one, I know you hear me talk about it all the time, but it really is a time where you can join your fellow Purple Door community members, brothers and sisters, however you want to, convene with them, whatever you want to call them. We Pause for Peace at 9 p.m. our time. Whatever time it is, your time, 9 p.m. If you're East Coast, West Coast, some other coast, wherever coast, you do you at 9 p.m. And we spread that out in various ways because we know that not everybody is actually a member of the Purple Door that belongs to one of those guilds. Whoa, we just got really dark. There we go. So Christy and Shannon and Susan, we have a whole team of folks that help us get the word out there for Pause for Peace. I also know that it really needed to be said that we have a team of people doing this, because I know we have folks that are that look out after Grim and I. They look after our well-being. We've had folks on the Purple Door for years and years that we've grown to be, great friends with through the time that we've known one another. And so we love that those of you that keep an eye out for, weird little anomalies out there, like the Pause for Peace getting shared more frequently. Thank you for bringing that to someone's attention, because it's better to know that we're doing it on purpose than having someone just kind of, randomly texting Pause for Peace things out there. But if any of you see something like that on the Purple Door, I got an ice cube. Please, please, please don't hesitate to let us know. Right, Grimmer?
Exactly right.
So yeah, biggest impact. Have you had yours? I know most of you would probably say no. I bet you most of you would probably say no. You're still working on it, still trying to kind of define what that is. And doesn't that just make sense? Oh, 2 cards popped out, so let's read both of these. As I'm talking about, doesn't it just make sense that we're still trying to figure out our path, comes the 3 of Wands card. Look at that young damsel there, flagging down. Oh, where's the sweet spot so you can see it? Flagging down the carriage in the distance. We got some twisted vegetation there. She's wearing a bonnet. Right. What's over the next hill? We don't always know. We don't always know what's around the corner. And, sometimes we can plan for what we think our biggest impact on the world will be. Like, I'm sure, Mark Zuckerberg, had an idea, a goal, a lofty goal in his mind. Maybe he really didn't even have the conception of how big Facebook and other social media platforms would become over the years. I don't know if at the time if it would be something that was perceivable. I guess probably. But he allowed himself to not get swayed by worrying about what's next. Hopefully that won't be our undoing in the end with all of the AI, subterfuge going on. But I think that being okay with not always knowing what's next is imperative if you're trying to be a go with the flow person. I'll read this next card in a second, but we had a meeting with someone this morning, and you know how a lot of times we talk about go with the flow, right? Well, I wanted to talk about why it's important to go with the flow. It's quite simple. Because if you're in the water, and many of you are no longer standing on the bank looking to see if you want to dip a toe in or jump in, a lot of you are in the flow and you are going along. But when we fight against the current, that is oftentimes when we get pulled under and away from actually obtaining our goals. So I think sometimes we fight against our own currents. I really, truly do. And we get in our own way. We've talked about that a lot. But how does that impact us now? Like, why would this card come here, pop out into my hand? Ace of Pentacles was the first one. That's about remembering our goals and keeping that achievable in front of our eyes, and knowing that we might not always have everything figured out as far as our next step goes, but we kind of know the direction, and we have a basic understanding a rough idea of what the schedule is. So we shoot for that. Now here's the third card, the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is also about the need to feel in control. I think that's where these three cards really kind of speak together really clearly, because if you're going to be in control, if you're going to be the Knight of Wands, it's kind of difficult to have a Three of Wands attitude. You know, not necessarily knowing exactly what's around the corner, but having a rough idea, versus having to have everything clean cut and going in the same direction and knowing exactly what the outcome is going to be, even though the outcome is, you know, decidedly not as shiny an outcome as it could be. Sometimes I think things grow better when you wait a little longer, you know. Feels like somebody really needed to hear that too. Sometimes things just need to germinate a little bit more. I know a lot of times, even on here, I talk about, you know, chasing after your dreams, go for it. And, you know, a lot of people that are coaches and therapists and whatnot, you know, we work on helping people take their next best step. But sometimes taking your next best step is not taking a step for a minute, isn't it? Sometimes it's a matter of letting things mature a little bit more before you take action. And there's nothing wrong with recognizing that it needs time to grow. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But know in your heart if that's the route you choose, right? Because you'll undoubtedly get people that will say, why wait? You've got everything you need. Maybe you don't. Maybe there is something that you're still lacking, or what would keep you from making that move forward. So find out what that is. Find out what it is that makes you feel like you need to keep it all under control and not just rely on a maybe schedule of things. Try to figure out what lies beneath that for yourself. And I will too. These readings always, you know, have a little meaning to myself if I listen, and I try to. There's a lot of different ways that folks could choose to go right now. People are feeling all kinds of feelings. Angry, frustrated, scared. And I'm not talking you. I mean, I really hope, I know some of you are really in a good space right now, and I'm beyond thrilled for you that you're feeling good about your life and where things are headed right now. I mean, absolutely, right? Like, manifest, baby. Manifest. But when we take a look around on a larger scale, we see that, you know, folks are not behaving. It's like the programming is starting to break down. It's like people are not. Okay, I'm gonna go into a little zone here, just a tiny little political thing. But over the last week, I know Louisiana made it a law that by 2025, all public schools, from like preschool up to university level, anything that receives public funding has to have a poster-sized version of the 10 Commandments within view, within the classroom. It has to be posted. I know there's that whole thing about separation of church and state. We won't talk about that right now. But my son, who is probably, I don't know if he labels himself as anything, probably agnostic, maybe. maybe atheist. I'm not quite sure. Doesn't need a label. But he said to me, we were talking about this, and he said, you know, why do we need a piece of paper on the wall that says, thou shalt not kill? It seems to me that is kind of a basic understanding, a basic human understanding that, you know, you shouldn't harm another living being. Kind of comes in that core of the morality thing, you know, the do what's right kind of thing. But unfortunately, our society right now, we're kind of moving in a backwards motion. Makes me think about when you're watching movies and the car's moving forward, but the wheels are turning backwards. We're kind of in one of those like perpetual motion shots because it feels like we are moving backwards in some regards. But I'm hoping that whatever it is that our society needs to learn by taking those steps, you know, I hope that we can find a way to do it peacefully and harmoniously and with as much love for our neighbors and fellow humans as we can.
What I have to say about that 10 Commandments, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, take the religious context out of it, the 10 Commandments are common fucking sense. Don't need God to tell me that. But I look at the fact that they're making it a state law and augmenting their constitution to do so as a win for the pagan and witchcraft community on a whole. And the reason is because it's highly known that we are the fastest growing segment of spiritually minded ways of being that there is right now. And that the Christian paradigm, the churches, are starting to fracture and split. You saw a news report on that this morning. And the followers of the church are also starting to open their eyes up to, wait, we can go inwards on this. So those that need the power are going to start pushing back real hard against our expansion. And we're winning.
I've had a number of conversations with folks that would consider themselves a Christian herbalist. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I said, what's the difference between a Christian herbalist and, you know, an herbalist? And it took me a while to get a response. But a lot of people don't see the connection. And really what it comes down to, you know, they will basically say prayer over some of the foraging they do, some of the, you know, just like we do. I mean, there is no, I've had this conversation and I don't know why I'm talking about that. Something you just, because of the splitting off.
Yeah,
I mean, people are just, their eyes are opening a little, and you know, that's so remarkable, and we've all been a part of the reason why that's happening. So I'm so thrilled, but I'm also, you know, I take my little tenuous step forward out there because I don't like to rock the boat. Mr. Grimm here, however, has a different viewpoint on that altogether.
They haven't found a boat big enough that I'm not willing to rock.
And there's Gussie hanging on for dear life. Whoa! Grimm rocked a boat over the weekend, and I know you wanted to talk about that, but I think if you want to talk about it, you need to be like
on camera with
the one on camera.
I don't want to talk about that specific thing. I want to talk about the genre on a whole, and that can come at another time.
Which genre is it, though?
The paranormal investigation TV shows.
Ah.
And I don't want to call any one of them out. Like I said, it is the genre on a whole that I'm starting to take more and more offense to.
Right. Right. Well, and yeah, I think we should talk about that sometime, but maybe not today.
We've already been at it for a minute. Well, you've already been at it for a minute.
Yeah. But it says I've only got 5 folks here with me. Are they 5 folks I love?
Are they here?
I love y'all. I'm just saying that. I'm just being silly. So, all right. Well, we were without internet for several hours because for some reason it went down right after we were finished with our last meeting today. So luckily,
as we closed up the meeting,
boom, there went the internet, and it was down until right before 4:20, which is why we were just a few minutes late. But anywho, we're gonna get back to it. I have some stuff to do still this evening, and it's been great spending some time with you. I hope that you reach out to one of us if you need help in understanding anything paranormal or spiritual. We'll do our best to try to point you in the right direction. Also sending out some love to, there are a number of Purple Door witches who are experiencing the slow, loss of people that they love. And just sending out some good blessings in all directions. I hope that you can pause for peace with us tonight at 9 p.m. Don't forget, on the 28th of this month, Grimmer and I are going to go live for our Purple Door Witch Wave, and that'll be cool. And I think...
Oh, Downriver Power.
Oh, right. Well, you want to say something about that, babe?
Just really quick before we sign off, there is a dam in Minnesota just upriver from a little town called Mankato. Their dam is about ready to collapse. So just some downriver calming energy for the folks that live below that particular location.
Mankato, that's from Little House on the Prairie, right?
Yeah.
I wonder, is it the same Mankato? Was it?
Yeah, I think it is. That's where we went on our trip, isn't it?
We've had so many little excursions into the unknown, Grim.
No, I'll give you that.
Who can say? All right, y'all. For those of you that have joined me for the first time, me and Grimmer, thanks for joining us. For those of you that, are our old favorites, thanks for sticking around again. We love you. We'll be back, fingers crossed, on Wednesday at 4:20-ish, and we hope to see you there. Stay magical.